Hey, 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 hello there, and welcome to our kickoff session of 2022. But do you desire it? Yes, yes, yes. Today's conversation is all about this concept of desire and just how important desire is when it comes to not only setting your goals, but actually achieving the achieving goals, staying in action, and is oftentimes the very thing that is the thing that you kind of missed is really the only way to say that. So, hey there, if we haven't met yet, my name's Susan Gaddy. I am the founder of the Disruptive Spark training formula. And my mission in life, the mission with my formula is to help people to elevate performance with training strategies. So we often think about training as the thing I go to, right? It's an information piece, but for us, it's about creating transformation and sustaining transformation. And one of the things that we know helps our clients every single day to not just take action and get results, but to stay in action, especially when it gets hard, because we all know that it does, is this concept of desire. And that's really what I wanted to share with you today is to have a very frank and real conversation about the word desire. I want you to see where it's currently alive and well in your life and helping you to operate and achieve the success that you desire, where it might be missing, right? And what you can do about it if you want to see this happen for you, if you want to include this in your life. And one of the things that I'm going to offer you now, and we'll talk again at the end, is that we have turned this into what I like to refer to as a vision casting session. So it's really the process of being able to capture your desires, put them into goals, create an action plan that can actually bring you there, and then actually help you with tools that keep you in that phase of willingness and in that phase of imperfect action so that you can achieve them. And I'm hosting my first live session, paid session, on January 27th. So we're going to go ahead and pop that link for you so that you have access to that. But for today, it's really about the first phase. And I want to show this to you because I just mentioned this. And I'm going to actually make this even bigger. But this is really the success formula that we've created after quite a few years of working in performance, working with high achievers, looking at why do some people get in action, stay in action, and achieve their goals? Why do some people, get into action but can't seem to stay in action? Why do some people never even take action? And this is really sort of the most boiled down essence of what we have discovered after all of our years of doing this. And I want to just point you to the word that we're going to talk about today, because achieving success really begins with having a deep desire. I want you to go ahead and write that down. And I have to tell you, this was mind blowing for me because I have lots of goals always. I'm a very, very goal oriented person. I have big dreams. I'm always, taking classes and looking to grow myself personally and professionally. But when I discovered this, this desire piece is relatively new in my success formula. And it really came out of some great awareness that I was shown to me over the course of this past year, and became one of the deciding factors around why sometimes I wasn't achieving the level of success that I wanted, why I wasn't able to stay in action for the things that I was going after. And the ultimate thing was that it really wasn't something that I desired, right? So we often go right to goals, right? Everybody's got their goals. Raise your hand. Tell me what, it's 2022. If you didn't come up with some sort of goal, I don't even believe that to be true. Everybody's, working towards some kind of goal all the time. The problem is they're almost never born from desire. They're always born from one of three things. They're either a need, they're a want, or they're simply obligation. And most of our goals are being constructed from autopilot. Again, out of a need, out of a want, or out of something that we've been socialized, grown up, through our cultures, whatever our religious affiliations are, to believe is right for us. These can take on feminine traits, masculine traits, all the things, right? We often do the majority of the things in our life are truly done on autopilot, and they're almost done from a sense of obligation, duty, honor, all those words. And again, nothing wrong with those, right? But they don't come from a place of desire. And so the problem is when you pull this desire out of the mix, you have a goal and you have a plan. What happens when you start to take that imperfect action and you run up against the hard stuff, right? The internal beliefs, the things that don't go right, the things that bring us fear, guilt, and shame, right? The things that make us feel small, the things that scare us. What happens when you run up against all of those things? We fold like a house of cards. Usually, the people that are truly anchored into something that they completely and deeply desire have no choice but to make their way through to the other side, because it's their mission, it's their purpose, it's their belief in life, and it's fueled by a huge desire. So one of the first things I would love for you to consider when it comes to setting goals is it a goal that's for me, right? Is it something that I truly desire? And I would argue that the majority of us actually never even spend time envisioning desires, right? That's almost taboo, right? You almost feel guilty. And I can prove it to you, right? Because when you start thinking about things that are important to you personally, right, we end up calling it one of two things. We either say, I'm going to be selfish today and I'm going to do this for me, right? Or we say something like, well, this is I know I was always really good at saying this is a guilty pleasure. So I hate doing my own hair. And I have my hair blown out as often as I possibly can. And what I have come to believe is that when I take that off the equation and I do that for myself, that time, that frustration, all of the pieces that go into that can actually be poured into other things. So it's actually not a guilty pleasure at all. It's a big desire for me. And when that desire gets filled, I get fueled. See the difference? It's completely different. So I want you to think about, where are you doing things out of, are you setting goals based on desire? Or are you setting goals based on the things you need, the things you want, or the things that you feel obligated to do? And I'm not saying we're not going to do those things. Of course we are. But I'm saying when it comes to reaching the success, a level of success that you want, that you desire, it has to come from a place of internal spark and not from a place of conscious thought, if that makes sense. And then you can base goals on that. And then when you put a plan into place and you add in this willingness factor, there is literally no stopping you. So I have a very good friend. Her word this year is unstoppable. And I know why that's true, because she is so tied into her desire. It is so infused into everything that she's created for herself this year. It is going to keep her in action, even when things get hard, because there will be things we don't know, things we didn't expect, plans that go wrong, things that make us feel silly or somewhat embarrassed. That all of those things are going to happen to us. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And the more tied in you are to the desire, the less likely you'll be able to jump. And I want to leave you with just this one thought around Kevin Bacon and the movie Footloose. So, if you're my generation, you remember this movie, right? But, you younger folks, maybe you need to go out and watch it again. But there's a scene in that movie where Kevin Bacon is in a tractor trailer chicken race with another person, right? And they're, coming at each other, and neither one of them are going to jump. And all of a sudden, Kevin Bacon decides he's going to jump, but his shoelace gets stuck. And he's literally tethered in. He keeps trying to jump. He keeps trying to jump. He keeps trying to jump, and he can't, because he's so tied in that even when he wants to quit, he simply can't quit. That's what your desires do for you. That is what your desires do for you. And, he wasn't the better tractor trailer driver As a matter of fact, he'd never even been on a farm before, right? If you go back into the movie, the other guy he was up against was bigger, was stronger. He had a better tractor. He had years of experience, right? He had all the things, but he didn't have the one thing that tethers you in, right? He didn't have that shoelace that tied me in so tight that even when I wanted to quit, even when it felt too hard, even when I wanted to jump, that I didn't, right? That's desire. And that's what desire really does for you. So I want to leave you with one simple homework assignment for today. Because oftentimes, and I know when I first started doing this, desire wasn't even something I really allowed myself the pleasure of even engaging in. And it took me a couple of weeks to actually just let desire begin to even flow out of me because it had been so tamped down for so long. So here's your assignment. It's so, so easy. And I hope that you enjoy every second of it. But I want you to set aside time at least once a week over the next 3 weeks, and even more frequently if you can. Every morning, if you take a walk, every morning when you brush your teeth, tie it into something that you already do. And I want you to spend just 2 to 3 minutes just dreaming about what is it that you desire. If there were no obstacles, if there were no barriers, if it didn't matter how much money there was, right? We shut down our desires long before they have a chance to ever even be brought into fruition, right? Vision boards, the vision casting session we're going to do, it's really about taking what internally we deeply desire and putting it into a workable plan that's actually achievable and can be brought into this world. And anything can be brought into this world, anything can. But it has to come from here, and it has to be given time to cultivate and to wake itself up sometimes, especially if we're not in a space where we often spend time thinking about what is it that I really desire. I think we spend a lot of time thinking about what we can't have, why we can't have it. I don't have enough money. I have to work this, I didn't I didn't go to the right school. We've got all our reasons for all the things we don't have and why we can't have them. But what if we just pushed all of that to the side and we said, I can truly desire to have anything that I want to have? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would the experience be like? Try as much as you can to keep the doubt and the this and it doesn't belong to me. Keep that all over here. We'll get to that. But simply allow your deepest heartfelt desires to start to flow through you. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Every single day for the next couple of weeks. And tune in next Thursday because we're going to take this one step further. We're going to talk about then how do you turn that into a goal. So I hope this quick conversation about desires was meaningful to you in some way. If it was, please drop a note somewhere along the way and let me know what was good for you. We like to make sure that these are valuable. And if they're not, we want to make sure that we're elevating and changing that as well. Also, please consider joining us on January 27th, especially if you're looking to bring something new into the world this year and do a vision casting session, guaranteed to, and I'm just going to bring this back up because I think this is kind of the best visual representation. Our vision casting session is really this formula, right? It's desire plus goal alignment plus a plan. And then you are going to get specific activities that will keep you a willing participant and engaged in taking the repeated imperfect action required to get you to that success that you desire. Have an amazing afternoon, everyone, and I will see you again soon.